Welcome to Xara template tutorial lesson number 31. In this Xara Web Designer 7 Premium tutorial, we'll be going over how to access the photo galleries within the design gallery. So again, we're going to be going over how to access photo galleries from the designs gallery. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to add titles to your pop-up photos for the photo gallery. And we'll talk about some other things such as adding gallery controls to move forward and backwards within the photos, and also how to add certain features like dimming the pages or adding a shadow to the back of your photo. It's going to be a lot of different things that we'll try to cover in this photo and showing you how to modify the photo galleries within the designs gallery. And by the way, you won't have to necessarily use the photo galleries to make a photo gallery. You can also build your own custom photo gallery, but in this tutorial we're going to show you how to use a pre-built photo gallery within the designs gallery. So if you haven't already, go ahead and start a blank new document in Xara Web Designer 7 Premium. Once you do that, you're going to go to the right side of your screen and go to the designs gallery. If you don't see this option available, the other option is to go to utilities, galleries, and then look for the designs gallery option. If you don't see that there with the checkbox by it, then make sure that you left selected. But if it has a checkbox there, don't worry about selecting it and just go to your designs gallery. And we're going to lock this panel by clicking the thumbtack in the upper right hand corner. And once you lock that panel, we're going to look for the photo galleries folder. And once you find that, you're going to left click on the photo galleries folder, and it'll expand it out, and you'll see a few examples of pre-built photo galleries. And so you can choose whichever pre-built photo gallery you want, but to follow along with this tutorial, probably best that you choose the first option, gallery 1. That way you can follow exactly what I do. So left click that and drag it out onto your workspace. So left click, hold, and drag it out to your workspace. And once you do that, you'll see a series of photos that you can use. And by the way, there's going to be something extra that I'm going to show you too if I didn't mention it in the beginning. I'm going to also go over actually dragging your photos from your computer into your workspace to replace these photos, but we'll cover that in just a moment once we go over the basics of how to edit this photo gallery. The first thing we're going to go over actually is how to change the caption text for each of these photos, and you'll see that there's a caption text 1, caption text 2, caption text 3 for all of these photos. And the way that you would change is double click on the text that you want to change, which in this case would be caption text 1. You may be able to barely see that on the screen because it's really small, unfortunately. But just go ahead and double click on whichever one you want. You can change this to maybe vacation trip for 2012. And you can name it that. And then hit the escape key when you're done. And select your selection tool. And you'll see that now it says, well, I spelled vacation wrong. So, make sure you spell vacation right. But yes, vacation trip for 2012 will be the first one. And if you want to change caption text 2, you just double click on it. You can hit Control plus A to select all of it, or you can delete it with your backspace key if you click at the end, whichever you prefer. I prefer to hit Control A and then just type whatever I want. So you could write in vacation trip for 2011. So maybe that was a previous trip that you made. So you get the idea. You can give a title caption for any of these by just simply double left clicking on any of the text. Now the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is, well, before I do anything, I want to actually show you what this looks like in the website and show you what happens when we preview this gallery on the internet. So let's go to File and Preview Web Page and that you'll see like a F12 key there. You can alternatively hit the F12 key if you want it, but we're going to just left click this option without doing the shortcut key. So when you click Preview Web Page, it'll bring up the photo gallery, and you'll see that it now says vacation trip for 2012 and vacation trip for 2011. But I want to show you what it looks like when it pops up. So if you left click on this first photo, you'll see that it pops up a bigger photo. If you left click on this one, it pops up another big photo. So you can look at all these photos, and alternatively, if you left click on one photo, I'm going to close this one out and close that one out. If you left click on it and press your right arrow key on your keyboard, it'll go to the next photo. And by pressing your left or right arrow keys, it'll transition to the next or previous photo. So that's how you transition to different photos, by pressing your right or left key. Or alternatively, you can left click on the photo to close it and left click on it again to expand it. So you can do either one of those to transition through the photos. Left click to close and left click to open. And that's how you do it. Now if you left click on multiple photos, they will all stay on the screen. So you may not want to do that. But if for some reason you want to compare photos, you could left click on each one individually and then kind of look at them and say, oh, you know, maybe somebody's viewing your website and they want to compare your photos from, maybe they want to compare photo trips from 2011 to 2012. So you could bring up, left click on vacation trip number 2011 and click on vacation trip number trip 2011 and 2012. And you can kind of look at them side by side and see that you had a vacation here, which doesn't look like a lot of fun, versus a vacation here that looks like it's a lot more fun than the other vacation. So that's how you kind of look around in your photo gallery and move between the different photos. So let's go back to our workspace. Let's go ahead and close this preview page by clicking the red X in the upper right hand corner. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the properties for these photos. So let's left click on this photo gallery and select it, and then double click on the photo that you want to change. So this photo, first photo, is the one that I want to modify. And then once you double left click on that, you'll see that it has the selection nodes around it. And alternatively, if you had the first option selected, it doesn't really matter what you have selected in this case. You just want to make sure you have the selection tool selected. So I'll put it this way: make sure that you have the selection tool selected in your toolbar, and then double left click on the photo that you want to change, and make sure that it's set to the either the enhance photos or clip icon. It doesn't really matter, but make sure that you have it set to the camera or the clip tool. One or the other is sufficient. And then you're gonna go to file. No, I'm sorry, not file. You gotta find the folder. Again, this is one of those moments where I can't remember everything in the program. Okay, so here we go. What you're gonna do is you're gonna double left click on the photo that you want to modify, and make sure that you have the camera or enhance photos icon selected, or the clip, whichever one is fine. And then you're gonna go to the utilities menu right here in the options here, and then go to web properties. So go to web properties, and once you select that, we're going to go to the tab that's called image. Left click on the image tab, and you'll see that it's already have the option for pop-up photo checked. So there's a checkbox for that. That's because we're dealing with the photo gallery. The next thing you have is the pop-up width, and that controls how large the pop-up photos will show, like what we've seen in the preview. And then the next option is the options tab here, and that'll give you some extra options to apply to your photos, but we're not going to go to that yet. We're going to give that first photo a pop-up title. So maybe we'll call it, you know, had no fun here in 2012, not a good trip. And then we'll go to the bottom of this panel and hit apply by left clicking on that. And because we're not finished, we're not going to hit the OK key yet. We're going to go to options next and left click on that, and you'll get a series of pop-up photo options. And we can dim the page while pop-up is open. So we're going to left click that, and so now it's going to dim the page when the pop-up is open. And then we're going to left click show shadow behind pop-up, and that'll show a shadow behind the pop-up. And we'll click show image title from image tab of web properties, and we've already set a title for that. And we're going to left click in the next menu, you have your gallery options, and we're going to click show gallery browser controls. And so left click that, and don't worry if I'm going kind of fast through this. When we go to the preview mode, I'm gonna identify what all these options are, and that way you'll know what they are from me actually showing you, and then you'll know what to check here depending on what you want. And in this gallery options section, we also have show thumbnail strip at bottom of pop-up. So left click that, it's going to show a thumbnail strip, and then we're going to also select automatically start slideshow, and it's going to change the photo every 5 seconds. And you can change this value to whatever you would like to. You can make it 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Let's make it about 3. Change that to 3 seconds, and it says at the bottom here, these options apply to all pages in the current website. So that means any photo gallery in here is going to apply all these options to it. In this case, we have one huge photo gallery in which it's going to apply all these options. So left click OK, and then hit the apply key to apply it, and then we're going to hit OK because we're done. And then we're going to go ahead and select our selection tool to deselect that photo. Click on the blank space on the workspace to deselect everything, and then go to File, Preview Web Page. And we're going to left click on this first image here, and you'll notice that the background is now dim. I'm sorry, I want to show you that one more time. If you notice when I left click this photo, it's going to make the background really dark. You'll notice that there's a gray space kind of darkening up the background. You can't see the photos that great behind the larger photo. So it dimmed the background so that we focus on the image that is in front of us. Secondly, remember we checked the box for browser controls. You'll see that there's a left arrow and a right arrow, and that's to go to next or previous. And you'll notice that the photos are changing without me doing anything. They're changing every 3 seconds because we set it to change the photo for every 3 seconds. So it's kind of like a slideshow that you can watch and not have to do anything. You can just kind of sit and watch it change and take place. And eventually it's going to get back to our previous photo, which we added a title to. And if I pause it right here, you can click this pause button here in the slideshow, and it'll pause the photo, and it'll stop the slideshow from moving forward. And you'll notice that now that I have it paused on this photo, or you can go back to it by pressing previous or next arrow key in this little browser controller. So you can press next or previous if you're not on that particular photo. And once you get to the photo that you want, again, you can just pause it. That way it's not transitioning through the photos like it is right now. So go to the photo that you want by pressing the previous or next key using the left or right arrow. And then when you get to this photo that we added, the title, you'll see that it says "Had no fun here in 2012, not a good trip." So that title that we added is now added in the pop-up. But if we close this pop-up, you won't see that title. It's only there when you left click on that thumbnail, and you'll see that it says "Had no fun here in 2012." And again, if you want to see just that photo, you got to go back to it, and then it'll stop moving the slideshow automatically. So it changes. So now you know how to make a photo change every 3 seconds or whatever interval that you set it to. You know how to add titles for the pop-up. You know how to dim the background so that it only focuses on the image that's in front of you. And lastly, you'll see at the bottom you have a thumbnail strip, and these are the things that we set again in that panel for your image properties for the pop-up. We set it to have a thumbnail strip so that you can see a thumbnail each of those pictures at the bottom of your screen. If you left click on any of those, it'll change to that specific photo. So if I wanted to go way to the last photo, I'll just go to the last photo, right click it. If I want to see the previous photo before this one, I can left click that. If I want to see the very first photo, I can left click on that. So let's go ahead and close this out, close that photo, and then close this preview window. And now you know how to change the different properties for your photos. And the next thing I'm going to show you is how to replace these photos with your own personal photos, because you probably don't want to use these photos because 9 times out of 10 they probably won't be relevant to what you're doing. So to use your own photo, what you would do is go to Start in your Start menu. If you're using Windows XP, go to My Computer, and find the file that's on your computer. In this case, I'm going to use the files that come by default with Windows, so I'll double click on my disk drive. I'll go to Documents and Settings, All Users, and if I'm going too fast, just send me a message again and I'll try to help you. But I'm assuming that most people know how to use Windows XP, or they wouldn't be using this program for designing their website. So I assume that you have basic knowledge of how to navigate through your Windows folders to find the file. Go to, what option am I looking for? Shared Documents, and then go to Shared Pictures, and then you'll see a folder called Sample Pictures if you're using Windows XP. Double left click on that, and I'm using this as an example because I know that most people should have this folder if you have Windows XP installed. If you don't, you would just find a personal photo on your computer. So what you're going to want to do now to replace one of these photos with yours is to left click on one of these photos. I'm going to select the first one called Blue Hills, and then hold down your control key after you've selected that. You can let go of your left click mouse button, by the way. You only select it once, so I'll do that one more time. Select the photo you want. I'll select copy of sunset then. So you left click it once, then hold down your control key, and then left click on that photo again and hold down the left click mouse button while you got the control key held down, and drag over the photo in the program of the photo you want to replace, and then let go of your left click mouse while holding down the control key, and then you can let go of the control key and it'll replace that photo. And actually you shouldn't be able to replace it without holding the control key because we're dealing with a pre-built photo gallery. So you should be able just to left click, hold down your left click mouse button, and drag the photo over the image you want to replace. So yeah, that's true. You can actually replace it much more simpler than the way I first explained it. Just simply left click on the photo you want and on your computer, and then once you left click it, hold down the left click mouse button and drag that photo over the photo that you want to replace. And it's that simple. The control key is held down for a different scenario, and we haven't actually went over that, so I apologize for telling you that in the beginning. Alright, so that's how you replace your photos within the photo gallery. And if you go to File, Preview Web Page, you'll see now that it replaced those photos, and if you left click on any of them, you'll see the new photos that we placed there. So it's quite simple to replace the photos. And next thing I'll show you is that you can also resize these photos within this pre-built photo gallery. And you'll see by default that the fill tool is selected and that it's over the last photo that we use. But let's go ahead and select the selection tool. Let's say that you didn't drag any photos in there and you wanted to resize it. And this will work for both scenarios, whether you drag it in a photo from your computer or whether you use the existing photos here. Go ahead and select the fill tool in your toolbar and then select the photo that you want to modify. In this case, I'm going to select the flower one that we pulled in. And you'll notice that now it has these nodes, and it has outer points for the nodes that you can drag as well. If you drag the center node around, it'll move the positioning of the photo. And if you drag one of the outer nodes, it'll resize the photo and kind of like zooming in on the photo. And you can focus in on certain points by dragging the center node around and adjusting the amount of zoom in on this photo. So drag the outer nodes to increase or decrease the size of the photo. And you can do that alternatively with the top one. And if you hold the control key, it'll lock it into position, meaning that it will resize it. Like if you drag horizontally, it'll resize it horizontally. Now if you rotate, it'll drag it on a 45-degree snap points. And I'll make the photo smaller so that you can see what I mean. Let's make this a little bit smaller. And if I drag left click on one of the outer nodes while holding the control key and drag in a rotational manner, you'll see that it locks in 45-degree points. And I'm showing it really small so that you can actually see it, because when the photo's bigger, it's a lot harder to see the rotation snapping at 45 points, or 45-degree points, I mean. So yeah, that's how you resize the photo with the snap points. Or alternatively, you don't have to hold the control key. You can just drag it manually and it won't snap it to a certain point. It'll just drag it freely at varying degrees of angles. So that's how you modify the picture within the photo gallery. And I'm pretty sure this is pretty straightforward. If it's not, again, send me a message and I'll do my best to help you. And if you go to File, Preview, Web Page, you'll see that that photo is now changed and it'll reflect those qualities. Alright, well, I hope this tutorial was helpful in teaching you more about the photo galleries and how to modify it to fit with what you're hoping to accomplish with your website and making it tailored towards your business. If this tutorial was helpful in helping you learn more about the photo galleries, please give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay tuned for future tutorials. And if you have any suggestions for tutorials, please send us a message and we'll try to help you better understand how to use Xara Web Designer 7 Premium.